Welcome to Dialogues for Change. Life is not a void to be filled. It is a plenitude to be discovered. Today, I would like to share with you some beautiful thoughts by Omraam Mikhaël Aïvanhov from this little inspiring book, Christmas and Easter in the Initiatic Tradition. The thoughts I would like to share with you are on resurrection, rebirth, or actually how to become and how to be alive. It will perhaps help you to understand the phenomenon of resurrection if I give you the example of a seed. A seed planted in the ground is exactly like a human being in his grave. When the angel of warmth comes, he awakens the seed with his caresses, saying, "It's time to come out of your grave." And lo and behold, the life that was lying buried begins to stir. A tiny shoot divides the seed in two and pushes its way up through the soil, becoming a sprout, a stem, a sapling, and finally an immense tree. That is the resurrection. But in order to raise someone from the dead, this tomb has to be opened, and warmth is the only thing that has the power to open tombs. He whose heart is brimming over with love, spiritual, disinterested love, of course, will open the tombs of his cells. There are so many rotting, disintegrating cells in a man. If you only knew how many coffins you are all carrying about with you, thousands of tiny tombs which must all be broken open. As long as your cells have not been brought back to life, they will remain inactive and you will never know the inner wealth that you possess. But once they have been raised from the dead, once they have been awoken, your consciousness will expand and you will never again be as you were. You will find that you feel and experience everything in another, more spiritual dimension. This renewal can only be achieved by means of warmth and water, for water is the substance that serves as a vehicle for life. Warmth gives the impetus, and water gives life. So here again we have an example of the way in which the masculine and feminine principles work, for they are both present to shake the seed from its slumbers. Then the tomb opens and Christ, that is, that little soul, that creature who seemed to be dead but who was really only asleep, appears. This phenomenon can be seen in all kinds of instances in nature. The image of the open tomb from which the risen Christ emerges is a universal symbol. Its message is not restricted to Jesus or to Christians. A seed, any tiny seed, is also a tomb in which life lies buried until the angel of spring comes knocking to open it. How could the baby chick break out of the egg if the mother hen did not peck at it and crack open the tomb? And incidentally, why do you suppose that we offer each other eggs at Easter? Precisely because an egg symbolizes the birth of life. Let me illustrate this with yet another image, that of a butterfly. What is a butterfly? It is a creature that has already risen from the dead. It began life as a caterpillar, bereft of all grace or beauty. Then, one day, it wrapped itself in a cocoon and went to sleep, and after a little while emerged as a butterfly. What went on while the chrysalis was sleeping? How did this metamorphosis take place? The caterpillar was transformed simply because it had already set certain processes in motion, which ended in its metamorphosis into a butterfly. Well, the same phenomena can be reproduced in a disciple. At the moment he is a caterpillar, that is to say, a rather unbeautiful little creature, only fit to crawl along on its belly and devour the leaves of trees. He is a pest and so is persecuted, poor little wretch, until he changes into a butterfly. Nature has left messages and clues everywhere to teach us how to bring about our own resurrection. What do you think you are doing when you meditate? You are like the chrysalis wrapped up in its cocoon, preparing for its own metamorphosis. If you have not already become a butterfly, it is only because you have not worked for long enough yet. You have gone back to your own affairs and continued to live with the mentality of a caterpillar, crawling along the ground and eating leaves. The next day you shut yourself up in your cocoon again and spin a few spiritual threads, and then once again back you go to your ordinary way of life, and the spiritual work has to wait. The following day you begin again, and so on, until the day comes when you emerge from your cocoon, a fully grown butterfly. When that day comes, you will not need to destroy leaves anymore. You will feed on the nectar of flowers. That is to say, you will be nourished by all the most subtle elements in the hearts and souls of the man and woman you encounter, and you will never again devour or damage them in any way. For every single being possesses a delicious secret nectar in his innermost self, and once you are capable of tasting this nectar and finding nourishment in it, you will fly away into realms of happiness and light. I find these thoughts very beautiful, very poetic, very inspiring, very spiritual, and very deep. I hope they inspired you on this Friday, 29th of June, 2012. Thank you.